A round of applause. Imagine with me for a moment that the company you have spent years building has finally been listed at the Nairobi Securities Exchange. Your business is booming, and now your future seems very promising. And then the dust begins to settle. You get back to the hustle and bustle of life. And you begin to think about it. Are you really fulfilled? Are you really content? You know, this mirage of success has hounded me for a long time. Like many 9-year-olds of my day, I yearned to excel in academics. I wanted to join a boarding school also. But I knew unless I told my parents what I needed, I would not go. So I set out to work hard enough so that I could convince my parents to send me off to a boarding school. By God's grace, they did. And for once, I knew now I'm free from running around chores after work, after school. I'm free from having to look for time to do my homework. Because this was the situation in our home. Those days in primary school, back in the village, we would run to school and run back home. And when you get back home, there was water to draw. We didn't have running water. And all the other things that needed to be done before we settled down for dinner in the evening. And I wanted to escape this. I didn't love it. So I succeeded. And I was very happy. We went shopping. And I found myself going to the boarding school that I aspired to join. And then I got there. And I was in shock. I was so homesick. And then came the bullies. You all know about bullies in boarding schools. Those of you who have attended boarding schools. I couldn't deal with it. And I cried my head off. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't go back home. I had to stay. I still stayed. But the mirage of the expectation I had was just that, a mirage. I didn't get the fulfillment that I thought I'd get from going to a boarding school. I ended up having to do homework and still run manual jobs at school, cleaning, the classrooms and the compound. So was I really fulfilled? You may ask. Then growing up in our family was like living in a military camp. You may ask how. Actually, I later learned that my relatives and my friends around our home had nicknamed one of my parents Mkoloni, meaning imperialists, because life at home was really tough. You had to stick to time, you had to do your homework, you had to get permission before you went to visit grandma. Mark you, this is in the village. You don't expect that. You thought we'd be free to do whatever we wanted, but that is not what happened in our home. So I longed for my freedom. I wanted to make my own friends, see them whenever I want, and do whatever I want. So I reasoned, if I work very hard and make it to the university, I'll be free and free at last. And then I made it. God was very gracious to me. So I was successful and was able to get an admission at the public university back then in the 1980s. But when I got there, first I was shocked. There was no bell to tell me it is prep time or it is time to go for assembly. And my parents were not there to tell me, do this, don't do this, do that. So you might ask, was I fulfilled? Even with the boom that accorded me the ability to buy whatever I wanted, was I fulfilled? Then I'd say, probably if I get a job and get to travel, I'll be fine. And then the Lord granted it. I got a job for myself. And by God's grace, I also managed to go out of the country and travel. But when I came back, for a moment I felt like I'd attained the apex of success and fulfillment. And then this thing hounded me. There was apathy and some sense of loneliness, meaning all this did not fulfill me. So I started considering, then what is success and fulfillment? When shall I get it, that fulfillment? When will I say I have achieved? Then I had to redefine my definition for success. And in my redefining my definition for success, I came to the conclusion of 3 things. The first, that academic excellence and freedom or wealth are not a destination in themselves, but a journey. This came a reality when I watched the movie The Pursuit of Happiness, where I learned about a man called Chris Gardner who became a stockbroker, an astute stockbroker, down from a man on the streets. And then he started giving out what he had. So I learned my first lesson, that success is a journey and not a destination. Then second, I learned success and fulfillment does not merely come from money or academic achievements. I began asking, how much money did Mother Teresa of Calcutta have? How many credentials did she have? So I learned my second lesson, that passion for the greater good is better than pursuing self-centered achievements. Third, that I should leave a legacy, should work towards impacting the future. Think with me for a moment. When you work towards building a future for your grandchildren and their children after them, then that is quite fulfilling. So I learned success is a journey. Success and fulfillment comes from pursuing a passion for a greater good and from leaving a legacy.
What a wonderful lesson. Sometimes life can make you pursue things and you end up thinking, I will achieve them. It's a mirage. What a powerful lesson. 3 lessons. Success is not a destination, it's a journey. The other one, pursue passion. And then thirdly, leave a legacy. Not Subaru legacy. Our second speaker is Bernard Kimani. Bernard says in most cases, together with his partner Violet, I don't know if it's violent or violet, we will know. He's able to predict certain things in most times, and most of the time they become a reality. This has made her partner to always hear his views. Bernard will be evaluated by Judge Courier. Judge Courier, kindly tell us the objectives of Bernard's speech.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmasters and guests. Bernard Kimani will similarly be delivering the second speech from the level 1 of the Pathways program, whose objective or the purpose of this project is for the member to present a speech of any topic, receive feedback, and apply feedback to a second speech. He has 5 to 7 minutes to deliver this speech, and the title of the speech is Benefits of Traveling. Benefits of Traveling, Bernard Kimani, Benefits of Traveling.
Traveling. As they say, traveling leaves you speechless, then it turns you to a storyteller. I have always loved traveling since I was a young man or a child. I like meeting new people, new cultures, trying out new things. Actually, I normally tell my friends that my favorite bottle of beer is traveling. So, fellow Toastmasters, listen to me carefully this evening as I give you the benefits of traveling. First, traveling allows you to disconnect yourself from your regular life. We all have issues. We all have problems. And traveling allows you to move away from those problems, figure things out, and move on with life. So, it is important, fellow Toastmasters, to take that well-deserved vacation. Personally, I have made it a personal goal to travel somewhere new every year. This year, my target is to travel to Malaysia. I have never been to Malaysia. And I give you, fellow Toastmasters, a target or a challenge. Please travel somewhere new. The second benefit of traveling is relaxation. Life is stressful. Life is demanding. There are so many things that is expected of us. Family, work, all these things bring us stress.